Hello, I'm Noah Price, your Christian gamer, someone who loves RPGs and JRPGs. Just recently, I was starting a new campaign with my friends on D&D, and finally, for once, I was going to play a Paladin. Oh, yeah. I don't know how I haven't played a Paladin yet. I don't know, there's something about it that it just wasn't too interesting. I'm somebody who loves RPGs because of their choices and the variety of what you get to do, the options, and I always kind of saw that the Paladin was really restricted by what you chose as your oath. Paladin and even clerics are kind of known for being the one classes that kind of get debuffed if you don't follow in line with your alignment, and it's just that kind of restriction doesn't really sound fun. Well, I have to say that Paladin so far has been a blast. I'm enjoying playing a Paladin so much. Yes, one of it is because I'm a Christian, so playing a Christian person is, it's not like it's weird. The second part is, well, it's a Paladin, so getting to have my smites, it's so much fun. First combat, wasted all my spell slots on smites. Totally worth it. I was having so much fun that after the first session and wasting all my spell slots, I was like, man, I gotta make a video about this. Because honestly, it really was fun. It was fun playing the good guy. And not only that, but like playing a Christian, a follower of Christ, and just really getting to go all into that. So let's talk about it. I have some points about it that goes a little bit more specific as to why I like this and why this is just awesome. And it's not just some mundane, boring thing. And I think it might be important for you to hear. So let's get going. Now, the first one is kind of actually why I think it's a little bit has this stigma to it of the Paladin. And it's the fact that this kind of thing is iconic. I think this is on the level of fighting a dragon. Keeping back with the theme of Dungeons and Dragons, this doesn't just pertain to Dungeons and Dragons, but it's easy to see when you look at that. At Dungeons and Dragons, it's easy for you wanting to do a campaign and be like, we don't want to do the normal stuff. We want to be original and we do these things. But at some point, you still got to throw in some classics. You got to throw in a mimic, throw in a dragon. You don't have to, but once you experience those moments, those iconic moments, it hits differently. It hits so well and so good, and it makes you remind you that, yeah, you're playing D&D and you're getting to feel those iconic moments that other people a long time ago got to. And just that iconic growing up hearing stories of, hey, the knight in shining armor going to slay the dragon to protect the village. That type of storyline, it's great to go and deal. Sure, it's mundane. There's nothing surprising going to happen. You know the steps and what's going to happen at the end of the story, but it's still fun to go on that journey. And I think right here, playing a Paladin or playing the good guy kind of falls in line with that. Some people don't like it because you are restricted into only making good choices. You can't, maybe get into some trouble. But I think leaning in and already having set in play where it's like, nah, I know what I'm going to do and I'm going to do it well is sometimes very rewarding, actually leaning into this. It's the same thing as to why when you build your classes in different RPGs, why it feels so good to lean into one specific, to optimize that instead of spreading yourself thin and not really being amazing at one thing. Roleplay wise, Paladin being aligned of like, yes, I am serving this way, these are my values, it's already set in stone, and sure, everybody knows it, but I go hard at this can be really enjoyable. But I guess we can just talk about it now. Let's just get into it. So the thing is morality, getting here in morality and getting to kind of, as I already mentioned, is your morality is already chosen as you are the good guy. This could be kind of interesting because while some people will go to the extreme, be like, I have to be too in line with the law, it's with D&D specifically, you have that morality choice of like, okay, what is actually good, and you get to play with this. Outside of D&D, when you are playing other games that have a morality system of like, yeah, you can do bad or good, you really get to play with what is good. See, the game has a setting and has its own values of like, hey, this is what good is. But to be honest, who says that's really good? This is where we get into the weird situation where, sure, you might be in a setting where, hey, to be in the law, literally being a part of stoning someone who made something wrong, beating them up because they did something wrong is good. And for some people, we'll consider that that's not good. You're causing harm to others. Any kind of form of harm is bad. And so it's interesting, even with just playing the Paladin or playing the good guy, the holy person, is you will get to play with this morality and get to figure out what is truly good. based on different people's perspectives and their values and getting to play with that. I think it's fun and it's great because it plays with our own understanding of what is good too, and we get to find out where we kind of put our values and what we agree with, and we get to see what other people do. Sometimes we can even learn from them. And I think this leads into my other point, kind of last one, the big one, is that specifically as Christians, we get to learn more about Christianity through playing a Christian. It makes sense that like the more we try to lean in to play this specific thing, we're going to learn more about that role, either by trying to lean in and doing the best that we can, or learning how much our values change. In different games, we actually find people's definition of Christianity being very different than what we may suspect. Dragon Quest setting has a lot of abbeys involved, the church. I actually love that factor. It made me fall in love with Dragon Quest even more. But if you played a Dragon Quest game, you might have noticed that sometimes the people that are portrayed in these abbeys are not what you would consider good all the time. Now, interpretation, you can either say, well, that's because their interpretation of Christianity is that who really cares? It's just a name, it's a label that you can use for power. Or two, and this would be still a positive, is that, hey, yeah, even though someone might call themselves a Christian, even be in a role of power, doesn't mean they actually are. They might not be following the actual, like, the ways of Christ, and instead be using it for power. So playing these different games, we get to understand what other people, their outside worldly factors, what they see Christianity is. And it could be interesting to find out what they kind of believe, and can maybe help us with understanding why someone might act a certain way if they hear we are also Christian. Again, the next thing we can kind of learn about Christianity is kind of similar, as I kind of also mentioned about our definition of the morality of good, is, well, we actually get to learn more about Christianity. Because guess what? Sometimes we might be wrong about our own definition of what Christianity is. We might be wrong about what it means to truly show grace to others. We might not be understanding of what mercy truly looks like, or even forgiving someone. We might not fully understand this concept, and guess what? We probably don't. Especially playing a game like D&D, this weird setting, going out your way to help others that you know don't exist. It's weird. Before playing a Paladin, I was playing an Artificer, and I was playing specifically an Alchemist. And so using my healing, my limited resources that I made, that I spent time on to literally heal a NPC, someone I know who doesn't actually exist, was kind of weird. It wasn't something I was used to. I have been used to playing, hey, I'm gonna be the rogue who goes around stealing all the money, stealing all the loot. And so playing a character who is, in some regards, counter to that, who's, instead of seeking all I can get as much, giving out and seeing how much I can help others, it's been very interesting, very eye-opening into my own values and the actual enjoyment you can get from doing that. So what I'm trying to say is basically application for you guys. Go out and play a good guy, play a Christian, play a Paladin. And some guys, I do understand that if you're not playing D&D, it might not be a Paladin, but in other games, such as maybe like Mass Effect, they have systems that are the Paragon route. I would suggest, hey, why not go giving those a go? I do know that a lot of times it's more interesting, it seems more fun and crazy of doing the bad guy path, but sometimes doing the full good guy path could be really fun. Now, if you really want to play a bad guy, then hey, how about you check out this video? I talk a little bit about what the Bible really says about being the bad guy in video games. All right, love you. Jesus loves you. See you guys next time. Or you might just kill them. that will end their story.